Welcome to Performance Anxiety. This week we welcome guitarist Jonny Campos to the show. He's been playing guitar for Grammy Award-winning artist the Lost Bayou Ramblers and with Spider Stacy in Poguetry in Motion for several years. He talks about his early bands and how he got the gigs with the Ramblers and Poguetry. But he's recently released something a little different. He calls it Weeks Island, and it's an ambient EP done on the pedal steel. It's a really great listen and a perfect change of pace. If you're looking for something a little different and a little soothing, give this a shot. Check out at Weeks Island and at Some Faraway Beach. Check us out at Performance ANX. Subscribe, rate, and review. And now let's get the show going with Jonny Campos and his cat Checkbook.
Hey, this is Jonny Campos from Weeks Island, Lost Bayou Ramblers, Brass Bed, Carbon Poppies. I've been in a lot of projects, y'all. Just out with a new project, Weeks Island, and my EP is called Drost. And this is my cat Checkbook. And this has been, I had a blast here on Performance Anxiety.
Well, thank you for joining me, man. This is awesome. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
So,
cool.
Let me get my notes up here because I try to do some research. Although, I'll tell you what, man, you're not easy to research.
I was about to say, there's a lot of Jonny Campos.
Yeah.
A lot. Mostly in the southern hemisphere, but
yeah,
there's some up here too.
I'm trying to find the right one. I've had that happen a couple of times, but man, it's not the easiest thing to do to find the right Jonny Campos, man.
Yeah.
So
it's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. A big drop one drop in the Campos bucket.
Exactly.
So, all right. The whole purpose of the show is to get to know you a little bit better and then find out about how you got into music and how you got to where you are, and then how you got to doing the new EP that you've released. So I usually like to start with family stuff. So how did you start? When did you start playing guitar? Was it the guitar that got you into music, or a lot of times it's piano or singing? Was guitar your first instrument?
Guitar was. God, I wish piano was my first instrument. I have friends that had lessons as kids and then stopped, but can still kind of like tinker around. I'm befuddled by keyboards. I haven't learned that sense memory yet. But yeah, guitar. I was I had to be 13.
Okay.
Just like looking at just basically like this is. I think it was like there was a big wave of guitar that hit. Around that time, I guess I was, that's seventh grade. So it was like 1997, 98. There was a big, that's before like Guitar World magazine came out, before like all the guitar centers were everywhere. Yeah. So like we found, I think the catalog was called like the Woodwind and the Brass Wind or something like that. And they had like woodwinds and brass and instruments, but also electric guitars, and like these little blurbs of like what they sound like. And
okay,
me and my friends would be like, oh, this one looks cool, I want this one, but without ever having played anything close.
So it started off dreaming about playing the guitar, and then
oh yeah, 100%. It was a group of friends that like was like, oh, you look like you play drums, you look like you play bass, and I got guitar.
I wish more bands would start that way. You look like the bassist.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people get insulted that way. Wait, what do you mean I look like the bassist? Come on.
Yeah, before you know anything, it's like you want to have fun and be cool. It's like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. This will be fun.
Yeah, you just want to be in the band. Doesn't matter what. Right. I know when that hit me, I just knew that I didn't want to be the singer. I did not want to do that.
I did before I could sing.
Yeah.
Easily.
So was your family musical?
Not really. I have one uncle that plays acoustic guitar, and whenever I had to have been 3 years old, and my older sister was like 7 or 8, we would stand on the fireplace, and he would play acoustic guitar, and we'd be his backup.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That was the first time I was on stage, I guess.
No, the family hearth.
Yeah, exactly.
So what were you listening to that really kind of lit that fire? Oh man, guitar, the music in general, guitar specifically.
Oh, it's all adolescent male, like Nirvana, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Sabbath, all of those, like every single one of those.
When did you start playing in bands? And I mean, like legitimately playing, not like you look like the guitar player, you look like a bassist.
Well, that band started in 7th grade, and we probably played in front of people junior, senior year, like once or twice.
Oh, wow.
And then me and the drummer of that band met Christian Mater from another school, and we decided to like join forces. And I think before we left high school, we had played at legitimate clubs a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So I haven't stopped since then.
So from high school all the way through. So now I did see 2 bands before joining Lost Bayou Ramblers. So Brass Bed and Carbon Poppies.
Yes. Brass Bed was the incarnation of that started at 18.
Okay.
And then we all went to school at like different dates. And during the winter breaks and the spring breaks and summer breaks, we'd get together, record, and play like one show.
Yeah.
As they tumble into heaps, yellow bursts of color.
And then, oh man, Carbon Poppies probably started about 10 years ago or so.
Okay.
Me, drummer from Brass Bed, and his now wife decided to start a side project. Basically, me and Allison, the drummer's name is Peter Dehart, and his wife's Allison Bull Dehart.
Okay.
Decided to start writing together, and that was just a side thing where it's just like, I wanted to have a 60s beat group. Like, it'd be really fun to like be one of those bands. And that's pretty much how we started that. And we put out a record in Spain a couple years ago, and put out a video. It's just been kind of like everybody in Brass Bed and Carbon Poppies have babies, and they live and own their homes, and they live in Lafayette. And I have a longtime girlfriend, and 2 cats at the moment, but we're still renting.
And you know what? Cats don't like people, so
we have some good cats because they know their names.
Oh, that's good.
One's diabetic and half blind, but we don't hold it against him.
Whoa, that's great. I didn't. You know what? I'm gonna plead ignorance here. I had no idea animals could be diabetic. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. He gets insulin shots twice a day.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's. You know what? I think that's more work than a kid.
I mean,
I got 3.
He's got his moments. Yeah. Well, if you
kids,
have 3,
not cats.
You can make them play together.
Yeah. Well, until
his blood sugar's low, we have to deal with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got 3 teenagers now. They're getting them to do things together is like, oh, I think I'd rather have cats than
of eye rolling.
You are not even kidding. Holy shit! I love them to death, but man, they can be frustrating. Oh,
no doubt.
Gosh. right. So how did your association with Lost Bayou Ramblers get started?
I just got the call for, it was like a filming for like NCIS New Orleans. They're like, oh, we need a bass player. It's like, okay, cool. And then day of the filming.
Wait a second. Okay. How did you just get the call for NCIS? Something like you're just sitting at home, I don't know, playing Call of Duty or something. Somebody just calls you and says, hey, come.
Well, I got a call from Louis that like I'd been on a list for a while because they were looking for a new bass player because their bass player at the time, Corey Ritchie, was going to move.
Okay.
So at the last minute, I guess they found a bass player and they're like, oh, just bring your guitar. I was like, okay, cool. So I played guitar for that. And then I guess like a week later, there was like a 4-hour gig, no rehearsal. And they were like, actually, Corey's not leaving, so just play your guitar. So I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Whoa.
Kind of worked out. Yeah.
So,
because
now I know a lot of the guys in Lost Bayou Ramblers are related to each other.
The main two, the fiddle and accordion, are brothers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then they've got their cousins, the Rayo brothers.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm trying to remember the whole family tree here. So now are you friends? Were you friends before this whole thing? Because you're not any relation to any of the guys in the band.
Oh, no. My mom's from New Mexico and my dad's from Colombia, South America.
Okay.
So yeah, I was a complete alien in Lafayette, Louisiana for a while. But we just like ran into each other like acquaintances, like, you know, like, oh, we know each other, who that person is, but it wasn't anything until like I got the call, or I was just like, oh, it's happening now.
Jeez, that's so you basically your start with Lost Bayou Ramblers was a baptism by fire then.
Yeah, it was one of those like, let's see if it can happen. If I can hang in, then if it's not a complete embarrassment, then I guess I got the job.
And now, how long ago was that?
Oh, that had to have been, I think it's going to be 5 or 6 years come October.
Oh, wow. Man.
Yeah.
And you guys won a Grammy? I mean,
turns out.
That's how does that, okay, first of all, I did have Louis on the show, but I got to find out from you, what did that feel like? And I've seen the documentary, you guys going to New York. It was really cool to see you guys just going through New York and going through the process. But what did it feel like? And do you get a statue or do you just get a certificate since the band is kind of big? How does that work?
We since it's like a full on Grammy, then yeah, we each got statues, but wow. It was completely unbelievable. Like, it's hard to believe still. Like, it's one of those like, well, I guess I have to keep doing this.
Yeah, I don't think I should stop.
Turning back now.
Yeah,
not going to like go into marketing now. Yeah.
Like, well, you could, but you would be the only dude with a Grammy paperweight on his desk.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, why aren't you still playing?
I won Salesman of the Month. Yeah, well, I won a Grammy. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Dans ces calendars, go do, dans ces calendars, go do. Monsieur Madeleine dans son grand bureau comme un vieil crapaud dans un bail de loup. Dans ces calendars, go do, dans ces calendars, go do.
It's good for the resume.
Yeah. And so the band kind of took a little bit of a hiatus at that point, right? And
exactly.
Is that when you started working on the Weeks Island album?
Yeah. It was kind of this, like, we didn't have many gigs, and I was kind of in a bit of a panic mode of like, I gotta do something. Like,
I just won a Grammy. Gotta do something.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have to create something or something. Like, I have to make a name for myself or do something. Right. So over 2 sessions with the drummer for Lost Bayou, Kirkland Middleton, we recorded the whole EP, and I kind of just sat on it and just listened to it a million times trying to figure out like what is this even? What could I do with this?
So when did you start playing the pedal steel?
Oh man, probably. I mean, I've been playing for a long time, like probably going on 15 years.
Oh wow!
But I've never had a teacher, so I've kind of just like picked up things here and there.
Oh cool!
And had to like figure out ways to be more creative so that I could be like, well, I spent so much money on this. I have to. So like I started using a cello bow on the lowest strings and stuff like that. Get more string sounds and
that's awesome.
It's been fun.
The album has an ambient feel to it. It's definitely in that genre. Is that something that you've been into for a long time?
I think since college, like getting into Brian Eno and then like just getting through his whole catalog and seeing like, oh, ambient music, this is interesting. And diving deeper into like krautrock, like things like Cluster and Noi and like some of their smaller projects, like the guitar player from Noi, Michael Rother, has some really great guitar albums.
Oh, okay.
So just like listening to that stuff and getting influence of like, oh no, you can just have a small repeating like structure thing and that's it. It doesn't have to have bridge, chorus, outro, coda. Like it can just be what it is.
Was the album conceived, I guess, or as an instrumental ambient album, or was there any thought of taking it another direction?
Oh yeah, I definitely thought like, well, maybe I can put chords over this and make a song, and this could just be the bridge, or maybe this can be an instrumental break between songs or something like that. But it just felt like that was his own thing, and I was just like, oh, I think this could stand on its own. And I showed it to enough friends, and they were encouraging enough. So I was like, I think this is actually pretty good.
Well, I've been listening to it a lot, and it's really cool.
Thank you.
I really like it, and I don't, and maybe it's just because I listen when it comes to ambient stuff. I don't know tons of it. It's mostly Robert Fripp stuff, Dallas Acid.
Oh, sure.
I love Dallas Acid. They're just really cool.
I've never listened to them. I'm writing that down.
Oh yeah, they're a podcast guest about a year ago.
Okay.
But Dallas Acid's really cool because they did they've released a bunch of albums, but one of the things that they did was with Paz Lenchentin, they scored
the bass player.
Yeah, she's in a Perfect Circle and a bunch.
Yeah.
And Pumpkin.
Pixies right now.
Yeah. They scored. I'm trying to remember if it was. I think it was live, and they recorded it. The soundtrack for the original Nosferatu movie.
Oh, that's fun.
They did it in a theater. They played the movie, and they did the score there.
That's awesome. Yeah, Lost Bayou's had a couple projects like that have been really fun.
I heard about some of those when Louis was on, and that's how hard is that? That to me that seems like that would scare the hell out of me.
I mean, at first it's kind of scary, but I think Lost Bayou did some music for the film Beasts of the Southern Wild. And the first time that, I guess with conjunction with Wordless Orchestra in Manhattan, decided to live score it. So we flew up to Manhattan and did 2 screenings where we played with an orchestra. And it was one of those, I definitely sweat, like there was a pool of sweat underneath it. But that was like the high, like it's only got, like we've done like smaller things. We've done where it's more fun. Like we scored a silent movie for, what is that festival that Wilco puts on at Mass Mocha?
Oh, okay.
In Massachusetts.
I know it. I've heard of it. I'm not real familiar with it, but I've heard of it.
I've only seen it on, social media because I follow Wilco and stuff like that. And but we got the gig, and as a part of the gig, we also live scored this 7-minute silent film about like I think it was like a train robbery.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like, but it was only 7 minutes long. So it was like, you could kind of like tease out, like you can have a small theme that you come back to, and then you can go into like more dramatic parts, and you just have to have a sheet of paper of all the things. It's just got to be slightly organized.
That's really cool. That's, I guess, because I hear a lot of doing like improv kind of stuff like that, but to me, that's got to be more, like you're saying, scripted, because you're actually following what's supposed to be going on in the movie. Exactly. Yeah. Man, look, honestly, I couldn't do any of this because I can barely play guitar. But that's the kind of stuff that fascinates me. Is unusual stuff where you're live scoring a movie that's playing behind you. When you do a pedal steel ambient album, because I don't know of any other pedal steel ambient albums. Oh,
Chuck Johnson has one called Basalms that's really good.
Okay.
Just Chuck Johnson, follow him. He's kind of like one of my guiding stars. It's like, can I do this? Is this doable?
See, when I hear the word ambient, 2 things come to mind. It's either Eno and Fripp,
right,
or just the adult contemporary garbage my mom used to listen to.
Oh, I know. It's the worst.
Like Yanni and he's not exactly ambient, but that's not exactly what I mean. It's
yeah, I know what you're talking
Andres
about.
Vollenweider. That's the one dude my mom used to always listen to. I don't know why I know that dude. I guess because his name was just weird as hell, and I was like in 8th grade. I'm like, what is? So it's always like an electric zither or weird tinkling soft thing that people want to go to sleep to. And
it's people like it's. I guess more people know it more as just like pleasant sounding music, and that's it. There's nothing challenging about it.
Yeah, music you can do other stuff to.
Right, exactly. Easily. But when you find like good ambient music, like I'm trying to think of some other, like, I guess I'm going to just name drop Cluster again.
Yeah.
You start to like, I'll like go for a run, and it's just, I feel so much more focused on the here and now, because it's less, I don't know, it just puts me in like more of like a cinematic mindscape, like mind space of like, you definitely like,
that's exactly,
feel like you're, something's, your life is happening all around.
Yeah. That's the reason I like Dallas Acid, is because I got that cinematic feel. Like I felt like I was part of something else going on.
Right.
And it was really cool. And that's one of the things I like about Weeks Island. I get that similar feel to it. So how did you come up with the name Weeks Island? What's behind that?
Oh, it's actually a place here in southern Louisiana.
Okay.
There's this like loop between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and one's an interstate and one's a highway.
Okay.
And if, I guess, like when it's more trafficy, I take the highway. It takes a little longer, but you're guaranteed to like keep moving. And there's a sign for the town of Weeks Island. And I've always thought that, was like, oh, that's a really cool name. Like I wrote it down on a piece of paper or notes on my iPhone or whatever. And I was like, I should probably do something with that. And originally it was going to be like more of a like krautrock band, like Noi or Can.
Oh, okay.
With like drums, bass, and guitars and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
I never got around to writing the material. So it's just like, sometimes you just got to have lists of band names, or
Yeah.
Because a band will pop up and you're like, well, this is the worst part. It's naming the band.
That I've heard that so many times. It's like,
so hard.
I'm trying to remember who. I've had a bunch of people on like, how did you come up with the name? And like, it's the only thing I could think of that nobody else had.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez, but I do some, and I have done some script writing in the past, and that's one of the things coming up with character names. So
yeah,
it's the same thing. You hear it, something hits you funny, and you're like, I gotta write that down. And
yeah, exactly. The hardest part of this was naming each instrumental song, because I was like, I don't anything. If you use a phrase, I didn't want to sound like pretentious or.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Louis about it, and he's like, well, how about we use like local bodies of water that we've lost to coastal erosion? I'm like,
wow.
Perfect.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, that's.
I was like cooking for my girlfriend, and he was on FaceTime, and he was like, "How about this one?" I was like, "No, that one sounds kind of like." How about this one? I was like, "Sounds great." Next track. Huh?
So did you? When you're throwing out, or when Louis and you were tossing names back and forth, did songs come to mind specifically for these names? Because you've got Point Fortuna, Raccoon Island, Floor Pond, and I'm gonna screw this one up. Bayou La Chute.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. All right, and Cyprian Bay.
Yeah. So, I wish. I mean, like I said, I was cooking at the time, and I had to like go to work in like half an hour. So it was just one of these just keep it going, because I wish I could say I put more thought into it. Is what I'm saying. But rolling with Louis Michaud, you end up places like live scoring places like movies, or playing festivals on somebody's private property in the middle of nowhere, Atlanta or Georgia, or
I've had literally one interaction with him, and it was when he came on the show, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because we set everything up. I Skype him. I think it's Skype, FaceTime, whatever it was we were using, and I'm like, "Is now a good time?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just here getting a beer," and so we did the entire show at some outdoor bar.
Yeah, it's LA31 Brewery. I know exactly.
Yeah. And so in the middle of the show, he's like, we'll be talking, and all of a sudden somebody will come up to him and say, "Hey, Louis," and he starts talking with somebody else, and I'm like, all right, I've got to edit that 30 seconds.
Podcast, Louis.
I know, I got to edit that 30 seconds out. But I actually ended up keeping a lot of it in because it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, he probably got interrupted less being there than being at home with three boys. All under 9 years old. He would have gotten interrupted more.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. Now, how did you go about recording these songs? Was it all in one shot? Was it did you know the songs before you went and recorded them, or was it a lot of in the studio work?
It was over 2 sessions. I mean, we couldn't have done it for a couple hours each, and we just threw my amp in Kirkland's closet so we wouldn't disturb his roommates. And it was basically just I improv'd. I have a loop pedal, and I improv I built something okay, that sounds pretty good. Let's put that down, and then let me layer 2 more tracks on top.
Wow.
And that was pretty much it. It was just basically well, what is this? What feels good? Just play something, and I'll be we'll be listening back. I'm oh, no. That doesn't sound good. Clearly, let's take another pass.
Oh, cool. So a lot of this was kind of recorded it at the same time.
100%.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I could do it again. I could do something similar.
Yeah. So now, I know COVID-19 has kind of hit your area pretty hard. I know I've got a couple friends in New Orleans, and they've been in bad shape. So.
That's terrible.
I don't know if you had any plans on playing this stuff out, but do you have plans once things calm down to play it, or to maybe expand it into another album?
I've definitely thought about plans for another album. I have played this material, or played Weeks Island out 2 times. Once was at a bar, and once was at a coffee shop.
Okay.
And the bar was so awkward, because this is pleasant. no, it's like not, there's no beat. So like people were just kind of like, what, like would walk in and look around like, what's going on? I was like, okay, lesson learned. I'm not going to play this at a bar. So Coffee House was a shorter gig, but it was more like people like sitting and paying attention. So it felt a little more like, okay, this feels like a better venue. So I'm thinking like more like museums, coffee shops.
There you go.
Maybe like an outdoor something like I had a buddy who, it's a bunch of buddies that run a festival called Fete de Void that they're like, we definitely want Weeks Island. I was like, okay, well, just so you know, it's going to be like, there's no beat. It's very ambient. It's just to be like pretty. And he's like, no, it's perfect.
Everybody's going to be real chill when I do this.
Yeah. It's like, that's what this is for. It's not, it's just like, I feel like it's like I told a couple buddies, like, I feel the EP is something you put on in your headphones. You go for like a nature walk. Like, so you can just like, it's like, get stoned if you want to. That probably helps too.
Hey,
but
yeah.
Like, so it's like, you know, so you're just like gazing at nature's beauty and walking around and feeling the sunshine.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
That's kind of the idea.
It's not Lost Bayou Ramblers boot stomping stuff.
Right. This was not. If this is what we unveiled to like a festival, people were ready to like have a good time and dance. They would be like, "What's going on?"
Now, have you thought about doing any live streams of any of the material? I've seen with everything going on, I've seen a ton of people live streaming shows instead of going out to concerts and stuff. So I was throwing that out.
I've seen like a lot of friends. They're like, you know, passing the virtual hat around like with their Venmos and PayPals, and I've been sitting pretty. Like Lost Bayou got off of a tour with members of the Pogues.
Oh,
so
yes.
like I'm not, and I was able to like file for unemployment through my job, so I'm fine. So I'm kind of waiting till I'm not so fine, and then I'll like that I might do something to where like, oh, okay, now I need some money.
Virtual live stream, ambient chill session.
Until then, I want my friends that need it right now to get it right now.
Well, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
Yeah, maybe.
So you did say you just got off a tour with members of the Pogues. I know you do a lot of stuff with Spider Stacy. Has that ever come into the stream of different projects? You're thinking something just you and Spider?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm sure he'd be open to it. It didn't even cross my mind until you. That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down.
I'm a huge fan of Lost Bayou Ramblers. I'm loving Weeks Island, and I love the Pogues. So I would be right up in that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he'd be down. He loves to like get far out and trippy.
That's and now, are you part of the Poguetry in Motion?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, so that's that whole thing. How does that work? I mean, is it all Pogue stuff that you guys are doing, or is it you do a little bit of Pogues, a little bit of Lost Bayou Ramblers?
We usually do like a Lost Bayou set, and then have them come on, and then do a whole nother set of Pogue songs.
Oh, cool.
So it's just like basically like this last tour was just like a seamless 2-hour double show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had to I was really bummed we had to cancel some dates because it would have kept going. It would have been nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping you guys get to come up to I'm just outside of DC because.
Oh wow! Oh, we were just there.
Oh.
We played the Black Cat.
Oh damn it! See, I just shot Woven Hand. I do some photography for a local blog, and I was there with I shot Woven Hand and the band Ohm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was a really cool show. Black Cat is not a fun place to take your camera though.
It's super.
Oh, well, the problem is a lot of places like the 930 Club or larger club venues, they'll have a gap between, and I'm sure you know this, they've got a gap between the stage and there's a little barrier for the crowd. And in that gap, anybody with media passes, for the first 3 songs, you have like free reign to go and shoot.
Right.
And they don't have that at the Black Cats. Wherever the stage ends, that's where the crowd is.
That's where the elbows are on stage.
Yeah. So trying to take photos when there's a big crowd there is hard, because if you got a good spot, you don't want to lose it, because as soon as you move, somebody's going to take your spot. Yeah. And then you got to try to maneuver your way through a crowd with a camera. And that's a nightmare.
It was a good show. Maybe chances are we'll be back.
Man.
I don't know if it'll be necessarily Black Cat, but
any place, because I obviously missed it, and I'm a little annoyed by that. It's been a rough year and a half. So it's just,
sorry to hear that.
Oh, and it's been crazy around here. This household's insane. But you also, okay, so back to your music, not my bitch session. The EP is named Drost.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain what that is and why you named the EP Drost?
I was at a dinner party, and a friend of mine from Montreal, Jean-Philippe, mentioned some film term, and I was like, "What did you say?" And I don't speak French, and he's like, "It's the film that film term where it's like a play within a film." I was like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." He's like, "So look it up," and it's essentially, it started out, it's what's called the Drost effect, which is started in, I guess, medieval times, where it was a tiny picture. It was like a picture of, and then a picture of that picture inside that picture into infinity.
Right.
And since we've had the technology of like mirrors, you can face them towards each other. And it's just one of these things where kind of like, I don't know, a lot of the songs are made with loops. So it's just kind of this, I kind of wish we could have put this out on a CD so you could just let it loop back around and keep playing. Just like, so I just kind of got enamored of that idea of the Drost effect of, and my buddy who shot the cover photo for the EP, Will of Fever, I've known him since pre-K.
Oh, wow.
We've been friends and it's just one of these things where I was like, do you have any pictures from South Louisiana? And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is perfect.
It's a great shot. I love that.
Yeah, it's I-10. It's Interstate 10. It's underneath Interstate 10.
Oh, God.
On the Atchafalaya Basin.
When I lived in Alabama, I used to have to go and do. I lived about, I gotta think, it was like 90 miles due north of Panama City Beach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we'd go down to the beach, and I'd have to, for my job, sometimes I'd have to go into Pensacola or Mobile. And so we'd go down to 10, hook a right, and then take 10 all the way in. I hate that road. That is terrible. It is the worst. I don't know who the hell designed that, but it's the brakes in that concrete asphalt material that they use. I drove to New Orleans once or twice in it, and it's horrible, because from Florida, from literally Panama City Beach to New Orleans, it's just ka-junk, 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 ka-junk.
Yep.
Oh my God. It's beautiful scenery, but the road itself is.
Yeah. And Florida's probably better than, I think they actually take care of their roads more than Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Do love Louisiana. I love living in Louisiana. It's not always fun to drive around.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's beautiful. I love the drive. I love going Pensacola, Mobile. Down to, all the way down to Lake Charles. It's beautiful. It's a really cool drive. I actually really enjoyed it, except for the constant ka-junk, ka-junk, ka-junk. But,
yeah. Yes, the cover.
So now, how do people get the album? Can they? It's available now, right?
It's completely available now. It's on Bandcamp. It's on the nouveauelectrique.com the label that Louis label that put it out, and it just came out on Spotify and all of those, the titles, Amazon Music.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting about that. I actually have that. I forget about that one. I'll have something on there and I'll listen to it constantly for a month, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm time to listen to something different, and then I'll just forget about it for a couple of months. Like, oh, I have this option too.
Right. It's one of those things where like artists get like such fractions of pennies from streaming services that it's hard for me to be like, and it's on this. But I mean, at this point, I didn't sink a ton of money into this. It was for art's sake, so might as well just like let people. If you want to pay what you want, go to Bandcamp, Weeks Island, and put some money in there. But if otherwise, like, just enjoy it, and hopefully it calms your day, or at least makes you feel in the present moment for at least a couple seconds.
Oh yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually, it's been such a nice change of pace to listen to. All right, so if people want to follow Weeks Island, if they want to follow you with Lost Bayou Ramblers, what's the best way to get in touch with you and follow what you're doing?
Well, Mike Watt told me to make a website, so I guess I have to make a website.
If Mike Watt tells you to do something, you probably ought to do it.
Yeah. So I haven't done that yet. I'm slow on doing that. Okay, I'll get a website going, but I'm Some Faraway Beach on Instagram. There's also Weeks Island Instagram. I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, don't do that. I hate that.
Yeah. There's a Weeks Island Facebook.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty much where you'll see all the info, like where this is I'll post this. And
Awesome, man. Well, I imagine, posting music online is a lot like posting podcasts, where it goes out to like so many different venues, different platforms you don't even know what it's on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see in 10 years where this reaches, and who's like, oh, that was you, or like stuff like that. Those are always good. I've been recording music for like 15 years, so every now and then I'll get like, oh yeah, I know that band.
Well, man, look, I've really enjoyed this. It's been a blast.
Likewise.
Ambient is a newer genre for me. But it's a really cool intro. I've had a little bit of background with Fripp and Eno and all, but the newer stuff that's coming out, I don't know if I would tell Brian Eno this, but I think I like it better. I think his ego could take it. Now I don't know about Fripp though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He might not be so happy. He spent a lot of money on Frippertronics.
Oh yeah, he snapped everybody in King Crimson into shape. So,
oh man, no kidding. And every couple of years, you're all gone.
Yep.
Unless you're Adrian Belew, then you last like 30 years, and then you're out, and then Jacko comes in.
Yeah.
But I know we've kind of gone back and forth and gone off on all kinds of tangents, but man, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Likewise, thank you. I appreciate you.